Hello, everybody. And here we go. Sorry for the lateness. I was talking to next door neighbor. They're selling the house. The old woman that lived there has passed away, and so they're selling the little house. They've been cleaning up to pretty nice. It's pretty big. So no, I asked her how much. No answer yet. So nice to have you here. Bonjour, Pascal Cartier. Things look okay. So hey, welcome aboard. This is the live show. There's something I don't like about the camera. Oh, there's a lot of noise here. Let's put it like this. So she was telling me that she loves Paul the cat and Mignon sleep next to each other in her yard, and she finds it so cute. So they took down. There is a kind of a big chicken coop that was in the backyard. It was like all run down, and they took it apart now. It's like it's gone, and they trimmed a tree, which of course also trimmed my ham radio wire that was in that tree. But the more I operate, the less I need it. Seems to work well. So, anyways, that's the story about that, and it'll be kind of interesting to see who purchases the house. And I've got this beard. I really need to trim my beard. It's kind of weird. Okay, so anyways, nice to have all of you here. So this is a radio show. We are here. We are live every Saturday at 20 hours Universal Time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we are here to just enjoy radio together and have fun. There'll be a little announcement. I will be taking the month of August off for the live shows. So no shows during the month of August. We'll come back on the first Saturday of September, which should be, let me just check that here quickly. The first Saturday of September will be September 2nd, Saturday, September 2nd. So we will be off for the month of August. So just but that, I will make a video to explain to it also. We'll post it everywhere that we'll be taking a month off. It'll be my little summer vacation of live shows. And we'll be back at 20 hours Universal Time, September 2nd. Of course, there'll be tons of videos posted on the channel. I plan to do a lot of different little things. I want to do a little experimentation also because we have the new rapid train system here, the REM, which is in service starting this weekend. And it's an electric train. I've been curious. So it's very noisy, according to a lot of neighbors that are along the railway. But I'd be curious. I was curious to see, does it generate a lot of radio noise? So I want to go somewhere. Actually, this week, I want to go and take a ride on it, see what it feels like in new train. But I'll be bringing a radio also, checking out the electromagnetic interference close to it, see what happens and all of that. But apart from that, anyways, there'll be a lot of radio videos. I'll be going to different parks, different places, nature, and bring radios along, of course. So there'll be a lot of stuff posted on the channel also. I also have an idea of a kind of a series that will focus on the history of some of the stations. I've been thinking of using some of the QSL cards, some pictures I can find, creating some, videos that will give a little bit of history on different shortwave stations from the past, and even shortwave stations that might still be on the air, but giving a little bit of history. So I think it's going to be interesting for some of you to have all of that there. My name is, yep, it's the new light rail, Eric Cottrell. It's the first part of it is open. There's five, I think it's five stations, 4 or 5 stations from downtown Montreal, Bonaventure, and it goes up to Brossard on the South Shore. So I want to. There's a free this weekend. It's full of people. Apparently today, 20,000 people took it to go and try it out. It's free this weekend to try out for people that want to see what it is. But the starting Monday, it's officially going to be in service. So I rather pay my fare to go and come back, and there will be less people when you have to pay for it. So it's going to be more relaxed. Apparently, it's very beautiful. Everybody that went and took a ride on it are like, "Wow, this is great." So, and it's fully automated, so you can actually go in the front cabin if you want. At the front, it's all windows, and see the railway and everything. So it's kind of cool. It looks really interesting. I'm kind of excited to go and try it out someday this week. So okay, my name is Joel. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast parts of North America, and we are live every Saturday at 20 hours UTC. Like I said, I'll be taking a month off for August, so we'll be, of course, back on September 2nd at 20 hours Universal Time. We talk about radio. We just have fun tuning around, doing amateur radio, and looking around what's interesting in radio sphere, answering questions. If you're new to the hobby, this is the best place ever, and hope that everybody is going to enjoy the show today. Sorry. Take a little drink here. Cheers. No alcohol this time. It's just cranberry juice and sparkling water. So we have a beautiful chat room with wonderful people that are great if you want to join in. And it's always fun to have everybody around. Once the show is over, we have a Facebook group. It has about 3,500 members right now. And it's a great place where people are sharing what they're doing. There's a new feature now in the Facebook groups, which are kind of chat rooms that you can open up and chat of different things. I've seen some people use it to chat about what they're hearing, what's happening. So it's kind of cool to see that. So great group and very, very amazing people, definitely. So it's nice to have everybody here. So Matt, MDK2 from Denver, Colorado, nice to have you here. Rob, Phoenix, Arizona, nice to have you on board. No problem, Matt. Take care, and hey, come back when you can't. Rob's radio channel, nice to have you on board, my friend. Master Players Radio and Television Plus Gaming, nice to have you here, Bobby. WA5107 SWL in Morgan City, Louisiana. Apparently it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Bobby. What else do we have? Rob's radio channel, very sad news. Tell everyone here. Does anyone remember Atlantic 252 Tower? Anyway, they pulled it down this week. Yeah, I saw a picture or a video of all of that happening. It's always sad to see that going. That's for sure. Dwayne, nice to have you here from Northeast Tennessee. We have David's Radio Room from Central Georgia. We have Richard Wagner, nice to have you here from Northeast Illinois, WA9301SWL. And yeah, I hear it's pretty cool today. It's about 70 Fahrenheit, 21, 22 Celsius, which is a very welcome break in the heat because it was really, really getting on my nerves. Especially the humidity was so high. And yesterday there was a huge water pipe that broke not that far from where I am. And because of that, they had to cut the power off. So yesterday was kind of hot and humid. So I had no power from like 5 in the morning until about 6, 7 in the evening. So it was getting kind of hot and humid in here. And I was kind of happy when it came back so the air conditioning can work. So it was kind of interesting with that. The noise level was rather low. It was surprising for once that we had a power outage and the noise was really low. It's kind of cool. Justin, nice to have you on board. We have let me drop down. TVDX, sir, bonjour, ça va bien. J'espère que tu vas bien. Toi aussi, nice to have you here, just from outside of Montreal, not very far. John Beckham from Northeast Florida, nice to have you on board. We have RJDA Dakota, nice to have you here from Wentzville, Missouri. Andy New, nice to have you here. M7CUN from Bristol and the United Kingdom. We have Robert Varner, nice to have you here. KC2TEL, New Jersey. We have Sean Fitzgerald, nice to have you here from upstate New York. We have Brad Shaver, nice to have you here from North Illinois. DX Swinger, nice to have you here from Pennsylvania. We have VA3JPX. Hey, nice to have you on board. Hope you are well, my friend. Chuck, nice to have you here from South Texas and 5KVO. With Paul in Northern Vermont, AA1SU. Nice to have you here, VT Radio. Richard Califano, nice to have you on board, WA2157SWL from a very hot and wet Albany, New York. I guess you should be cooling down now, as we're cool here in Montreal. Within the next day or two, you're going to be cooling down also. Things are going to be a little more interesting weather-wise. We have Jean Arrache. Salut, j'espère que tu vas bien. Nice to have you on board. Pascal Cartier, that is in not kind of east part of Montreal. Not that far away from where I am, actually. Beam C Bike, nice to have you here from Switzerland. Nice to have you here, HB3XBL. Welcome aboard. UTV and Ham, KD9 and WNV, nice to have you on board from Wisconsin. Leo Tech, nice to have you here. We have Hart Dodd, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. K2ADC. Kevin, nice to have you here from the Jersey Shore. WS2H, because the ocean was so warm today. Yeah, I saw a report this week about places in Florida where the water temperature is high like they have never ever seen. Pretty crazy. Some places the ocean actually reached 100 Fahrenheit. Pretty crazy. The ocean is really getting warmer with all this happening. Francis Moore, nice to have you here from Birmingham, UK. David Miller, nice to have you on board from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And yep, so once again, for those that weren't here before, for August, no shows. We'll be back on September 2nd with live shows. Sabas Vlog, nice to have you here. Roberto Rojas, nice to have you on board. Sabas Vlog is from India, nice to have you here. John Zorella, nice to have you on board from Somerset, New Jersey, N2NYT. John Beckham, yes, I will enjoy my my time in August, coming back with more energy in September to annoy everybody with radio. Chuck King, nice to have you here. Ryan Knox, WRWZ719, nice to have you here. Yeah, I think it goes to the Quartier DX30, Erica Trail. The Quartier Distron, as we say in French. Chuck Kling says, any news from Texan about coming out with new advanced tabletop model? No, nothing. So it seems to be quieting down. You know, we get all of these new radios from all of these Chinese places with all the little, you know, the ATS 25 Max and the there's an ATS 120, which kind of a portable. All of these things coming out here and there, the Belka. But when we look at standard manufacturers like Sangean, like Ethon, like Texan, XH Data is coming out with a few new models, so obviously there is a market for radio still, but I think it's quieting down. I think for the first time we can actually say that the the official market, not the one that which I call kind of a different thing, the hobbyist market, I'll call it, the ones with touch screens and the SDR stuff. Um, that is still doing some interesting things out there, but we don't have any news of anything. And if Texan is still in the same minding, because they had said that the radio, the Texan H501X and the 990 would be the last IN receivers. Doesn't mean it's the last radios, because um, they could have some low end receivers coming out. Like they just brought out the PL320, which is a kind of a PL330 without SSB, basically. But they'll have, and I think that's an indication of where the market's going. Low priced receivers. And I think a lot of people on of companies on the higher end are not going to go there anymore. It's probably less and less lucrative for them. I just see it on my channel. The number of questions of what's a low priced receiver that works well just tells you people don't want to pay much for a radio. There's definitely crazy people out there like me and some of you that, yeah, you'd probably get, if it was good and interesting, you'd pay maybe $300 or $400 for a radio. But it has to be interesting. It has to be something that is unique and that is worth the price. Even I am not pushing. Somebody was telling me the other day, it's like, you're not really pushing the H501X or anything. And I'm more in the minding, you want to have a good radio that has good sound, that works well. Well, depending on what you want as features, the Texan PL880 is fine. It's a beautiful radio, works well, and it's gonna, you're gonna save money. Um, although I love the H501X and the 990X, I don't see enough reason to really push and move on to these radios when somebody asks me what radio should I buy. What else do we have? So Eric Cottrell, nice to have you here. Darren Rogers, nice to have you here from Long Island, New York. KD2HS. What else do we have? Yeah, exactly, Eric Cottrell. BMC Bike, did you get the Belka? When yes, how long did it take from order to delivery? So I don't have the Belka. I haven't ordered one yet. There's something happening in towards the end of the month that, if it happens and it works out the way I actually think it will, somebody that I know will be there that has a Belka. If all works out, I'll be asking if she could bring the Belka with her so that I can actually play with it a little bit and maybe make a few videos. Kind of just have a feel of it before I actually purchase one. But will be interesting. Until now, all I see of the Belka is people being happy with it. So that's kind of interesting. It'll be be nice to see that. And of course, that could make me push the buy now button. We'll be checking that out. TV Dostowski, nice to have you here from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Joey Jojo, nice to have you here. Hey, Greg, nice to have you on board. And 6RLS, nice to have you here from Berkeley, California. Tristan, nice to have you here from Newfoundland. Nice to have you here. Yeah, I pretty much. I'm happy with a lot of the reception this week. I actually so CountyCon sent me a beautiful watch, a GMT watch, which is really nice. And I had the occasion of getting another CountyCon, actually, with all the, the full kit of the GP7 SSB with a metal frame and everything. So I've been actually playing around a lot with it this week and checking out the ETM scans and all of that. Been actually surprised to hear China radio direct from the Kashi transmitter side in China, coming in at 03 UT to 04 UT, which is 11 p.m. here to midnight on 17640 with a very good signal, good enough to really clearly listen to the program. Been enjoying that actually. So this week, a few nights, my radio listening was China radio from China on 17640 at 03. Then I moved to the BBC World Service 12095 from Madagascar at 04, which is midnight. And at 05, which is 1 a.m., I changed to Radio New Zealand on 15720, which also is coming in really well. So it's pretty cool. And, as we're moving on, we're getting into August, we're going to start seeing changes in the patterns of reception. We're going to start seeing more Asian signals becoming powerful in the higher frequencies with the high solar activity. We're more than a month away past the solstice now. So the days are starting to really get shorter in the northern hemisphere. So within the month of August is a really good month to see the difference from beginning to the end of the month. Actually, I was thinking of a series that could be really nice, taking like 4 or 5 signals and every 2 or 3 days posting a video showing the strength and the changing pattern in these signals as we're going through the month of August. But definitely by now we're still kind of in a summer like propagation, but by the end of August we'll be more into a fall style propagation, which is always interesting for me. A lot of people are like, oh, I like winter better for DXing, I like summer better for DXing. I always say every season has its patterns. Tune around because every season has its really, really interesting stuff to listen to. But for the way that the gray line is actually positioned, I find that from end of August to mid-October, late October, it's kind of a great time for a lot of signals to come through. And also, same is true again when we get into February until like late April. These are always two moments where it's kind of interesting to hear. The equinox are two periods that are very, very interesting for me here in Montreal, at least. So there's definitely going to be some changing propagation coming up now as we get into August. And I just can't believe that's what I was telling Sheldon when we were recording yesterday. I just can't believe we are getting into August already. It's just crazy. So Greg Sharon, nice to have you here. The Catman from southeastern Illinois, nice to have you here. John Beckham has a Spain coming in very well on Northeast Florida on 17855. I'm actually listening to some, there's some activity on the Super Bowl channel, 27025 or channel 6 CB. Let's try Spain here. Definitely good signal off of Spain. One that I want to try, Antarctica, LRA 36. I think I'm hearing something very weak. LRA 36 from Antarctica. 15476 upper sideband is supposed to be on until 23 UTC. They say 23, but so many times in the past few weeks, they've been staying until like 0102 UTC. So be checking that out. 15.476 might actually improve over the next few hours from Antarctica. TB Ostrowski was going to put the Grundig Satellite 800 in the garage and run 100 feet of wire and fed. Do I need a antenna tuner? Nope. Antenna tuners for receive are not necessary at all. They have very little effect. Very little effect. It's not zero, but it's not enough to be worth, playing with an antenna tuner. You'd have to get a manual antenna tuner and all of that. It's not worth it. You better position your long wire simply the best way possible for the lowest noise. Matt, MDK2, nice to have you on board again. Neil Rigby, nice to have you here from the UK. Stan Hossam, nice to have you here. Says, looks like I'm going to order another striker, 10 whip for my magnet mount antenna, unless someone has used one for less money. Lower roofs and 3 limbs, not good. Radio Kid, the cold front is just coming in west of Washington, D.C. now. Thunderstorms firing up. Got scanner going. WeatherNet sounds like it's going from west located repeater. When the front went through yesterday, we had some pretty bad thunderstorms here. Montreal, it wasn't too bad, but on the South Shore, there was a lot of places that had torrential rainfalls. It was kind of interesting, and it made me realize something. So for some of you that live in Canada, you might know that some of the Environment Canada weather stations that are on, I'm trying to see if I can give an example, but anyways, here in Montreal, we have the one in Montreal, which, by the way, for the past 2 weeks is an open carrier without any voices, which I find interesting. It means nobody's complaining that there's no weather on the frequency. And I need to try to find a phone number. I want to call in and say, hey, it doesn't work. But there was announcements on several of the stations. One at in the S3 part, when there was one that's for the Sherbrooke area, Magog, and so on. And there was one on top of Mont Tremblant up north. And they had announcements a couple of years ago. They had announcements saying, we're going to shut down this service. And, if you have comments or anything, let us know. And they give a phone number. And I told everybody that, if you live in one of those areas and find it useful, call and say you're not happy with the closure. I mean, it costs almost nothing to operate. Come on. And the one in that's the Magog Sherbrooke area weather station, which finally was stayed on, so people did probably call in. And I remember somebody here on the channel saying that he was in that vicinity and he was doing a lot of voting and wanted to and called because he said no, that weather station is absolutely necessary when you're out on the lake. He was giving an example, and that's the problem today, trying to convince people that our technology isn't always good, because they obviously were saying, oh, you can go on your smartphone and just look at the weather app. Yeah, that's when you got cell connectivity. But on the Lac Menfrey-Magog, what the guy was telling me is that when you're in the middle of the lake, this does not work anymore. There's no more coverage. Your phone is dead. So how can you get a weather alert if your phone ain't working? So, I told him, I said, stress that out. Tell them that the phone doesn't work in the middle of the lake. You're doing a lot of boating, and that taking the weather channel off could actually endanger boaters. People out there might never get a warning that the thunderstorm's coming. I mean, on a lake like that, and and you guys know, all of you that live near the Great Lakes, when the wind picks up, this isn't a lake anymore. It's the ocean. The waves and everything is crazy. So, you could save lives with these radios, and they cost almost nothing to operate, which is kind of dumb that they want to remove them. We'll be back after these couple of ads that some of you are going to see. So, no real sign of of LRA 36 actually. So, anyways, while I was scanning the weather channels, because I'm always interested, sometimes one of the phenomena actually is, which is interesting, is when there's tropoducting on the VHF range. When that happens, and especially when a cold front is about to go through, the radio waves at the VHF level get trapped into layers of the atmosphere where the cold and the warm air encounter each other. And a signal that usually is line of sight, 100 miles, can suddenly become 200 miles. It can actually follow a little bit the curvature of the earth because of the phenomena. So I always look at the weather channels because the weather channels are a great indication of that. If I hear a NOAA weather station off of some part of the Northeast US that I never hear, I know something's up. And same for the Canadian Environment Canada ones. So I was used to the fact that 162475 was the only one from the Magog Sherbrooke area. So yesterday I tuned and I was so surprised to hear there was some interference. So I thought maybe there's tropoducting or something. No, I moved the radio just a little bit and hear another one which is in French. And I waited to get the ID. It was the Mont Tremblant one up north. So they reactivated that one. Um, and it makes me wonder, why did you reactivate it when you shut it down? I guess somebody somewhere complained that it was very useful to have because it was gone for about a year and a half, 2 years now. So I was surprised to hear it again, and actually very happy to hear it again, honestly. So this is kind of cool, kind of cool. But man, we need those. I mean, the boaters in the middle of the lake. It's the only way they're getting their weather. There's no more weather when your phone stops working because you're too far from the cell tower. Bruce Corbett, N9BH, nice to have you here from Missouri. Tim in Texas, nice to have you on board. Three Fork Creek Outdoors, nice to have you on board. Where I get my on the air sign, somebody gave it as a. I need to put something black behind it so that it shows better. But it's a gift from one of the viewers of my channel. Got it many years ago. Brian Penny. Canadian Prairie Shortwave, nice to have you on board. VE2 EIV Robert, salut. J'espère que tu vas bien, VE2VZ. Nice to have you on board. Lex 2006, nice to have you here. Dream Shadow 76, nice to have you on board. From Iowa. I got VB2M. I got two contacts with VB2M. So Victor Bravo 2 Mike is a special event station from a bunch of Quebec guys that are out on an island somewhere. I had one contact in single sideband voice, and I got one contact on FT8 with Victor Bravo 2 Mike. There's another one. If you guys want to try one special event that I haven't been able to contact yet, Lima X-ray 90 radio. What is it? It's RTL. So radio Texas Lima Tango Lima. So Romeo Tango Lima. So LX90RTL, or the 90th anniversary of the Radio Télévision Luxembourg. It's a special event station that's on right now. I need to I need to try to contact that one. Um, Rob's radio channel is AM radio reorganizing itself again. It's tough to really talk about that because we had last week we talked about a report on the International Radio Report show we have on Sunday morning where there's a steady decline in AM radio in North America. It's very small, though. The decline has been very, very slow. So I'm not, panicking about AM radio going away right now, but there's definitely a decline. And one of the interesting things is that the U.S. Congress, we talk about, the electric car makers that don't want to put AM radios anymore. Well, it's interesting because the AM radio in every vehicle act is actually in Congress now already, and trying to go through so that they support the fact that every car maker will have to include an AM radio in every car. So this is kind of interesting, at least. So it's kind of interesting, and we'll see that definitely can help AM radio for sure. But I think, like shortwave, we say it all the time. A lot of people are like, well, shortwave is going to be dead in 10 years. It will not. It'll still be here in 100 years. It's just that it reorganizes itself based on where we should be broadcasting and where all of that is needed. And that's why we have a shift away from North America. Stations, not a lot of stations anymore are broadcasting towards us. Why? Because for them, that target audience is not a target audience that's needed anymore. But a lot of them are still broadcasting to, Africa and even Europe. So its share of broadcast still. And of course, Middle East and Asia. I think there's going to be a reorganization of, a handful of powerful transmitters relaying stuff. And I think AM radio is going to end up still existing in a long time, but will be more of either a bunch of very local stations that have very, information about the communities that live in a small city or things like that. And probably a handful of powerhouse, clear channel stations that'll make great distances. It's going to be interesting to see. And I think the only thing we could do is, go to wait and see what happens. It's not dead yet, that's for sure, but it's going to reorganize itself probably over time. Dream Shadow loves WBCQ. Kimberly, K6YYL, the AM radio lady that likes to do live streams over 6-meter activity. Nice to have you on board. Anton, most I pay for radio is 15 grand. Stan Awesome says my cassette player doesn't work on my Radio Shack DX392. Hasn't worked for a long time. Yeah, usually on most of these radios, if you use it often, all the mechanical stuff is what breaks first. So the cassette player is, Sal Domino, nice to have you here. KM4PPV. Joseph, nice to have you here. What's up? Tuning from San Francisco Bay with a Texan PL368. Looking forward to listening to the propagation shift. Pretty bad during the day, yet often great late nights. Yeah, that's typical of summer. Summer daytime is not when you want to listen to. Although you could have surprises, most of the time it's more in the late afternoon, evening, night that is great in the summer. But that's going to shift. Richard Wagner, going to get a PL330 tattoo. Carolina Elevators. If I buy the ATS 909X2 on Amazon, will it be guaranteed to come with the ANT60 because there is a radio plus antenna, but without the plus antenna, it still says you get it, but I'm not sure. I believe it's standard in the box. Carolina Elevators. I believe it's standard in the box. I'm pretty sure it came. I'm trying to remember mine. I'm pretty sure it came in the box. I think it's standard with the radio. Dan V, nice to have you on board from Ohio, N8WJZ. Joey Jojo, my Sangean ATS 909X2 from Amazon Canada came with it. Yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it comes in the box of the ATS for sure. Gareth Brennan, nice to have you here from Ireland. We have Carolina says, elevator says, I actually got it used 909X2 and they said it was working great, but it came and the box was in wet. Wow, okay. This is disgusting. What else do we have? Jasmine, nice to have you here. Let me just as we have here. Over here, trying to find where I was. Okay, here we go. Matt, I've been getting KBS World Radio still very well, 13 of 15. Submitted a reception report this morning, and it just created an instant online QSL, which I felt was a bit cheap. I could have said anything and gotten it. Yeah. And you know what? Unfortunately, I think for a lot of broadcasters, you just, put whatever and you're going to get that QSL. The, the I still remember in the 80s and 90s sending reception reports and getting an answer back saying, "Oh, it's nice to have you listening, but we couldn't get your QSL because the program wasn't right or the frequency wasn't right or there's no date or today you'd say, hey, I heard you, can I get a QSL? You don't even give details, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them are going to be like, yeah, here's your QSL. Yeah, and he knew that's wishful thinking. The 502, yeah, that would be nice, but the lack of RDS on every Tungsten receiver kind of tells me they're not going there. They don't want to do that, and it's sad because the DSP chip used in all of them actually has RDS capability. You just need to have the circuit and the display, and that's it. Saldamino says, yeah, reception was good on the shortwave side of the house. Radio New Zealand came in on Sunday morning strong. HF still high noise. Made a contact with Australian, Caribbean, and Antigua. Cool. Kimberly says, lots of meteor scattered today with the 2 meteor showers going on right now. Yeah, and I guess as we'll get into, I need to check that out a little more because we're getting into the Perseids that are in 2 weeks, a little bit like about 2 weeks away from now for the peak. Be interesting to see that. Matt, halfway point between summer solstice and the autumnal equinox is approximately August the 5th, so we're really close. No, I did not get the medium wave FM, the radio kit, the AM radio kit from Texan, Greg. There was something weird, and the order was canceled. I need to reorder if I want one, and I haven't come down to that. I need to reorder it. Mike WX50, nice to have you here. Darren Rogers, interesting you say this about Texan today. I was just getting started this week, Thursday night, with my new Texan PL990. Very nice. I like it. It was great to hear Romania on 9550 in the BBC. Yeah, the 909X2 is SSB. That thing that I kind of noticed, and I think that's where it falls. So I listen to single sideband on mine, so mine is here right now. Just to show you. So this is my 909X2 here. On the telescopic antenna, the single sideband is low audio, literally low audio. And you know what? The thing that I notice is that I think that really to enjoy single sideband to its fullest is to put an external antenna like that, external antenna that comes with it. It definitely bumps up the noise, the noise floor, and the signal levels, and then you're fine. But just using the telescopic, um, yeah, I was doing videos outdoor with it 2 weeks ago, and I noticed that with the background outdoor noise, it was actually tough to hear the weak single sideband stations. Um, so it's something to note, but if you put an external antenna, that problem is not a problem. So I guess that's really where it is. A lot of people send it back. They say this a single sideband audio is too low. I think if they would have clipped or they would have put an external antenna, they would have noticed that, yeah, okay, it's fine with the antenna plugged in. It's one of those quirks. The 909X2, beautiful radio. It has its little flaws. It has its little quirks. It's sad for the price that it's sold at. It couldn't be better in some aspects, but hey, every radio has positive and negatives. Kevin, hearing you talk about the late night propagation is motivating me to burn the midnight oil tonight. I still have 1.5 years till retire, so late night DXing does not happen as much. Yeah, do it. You're gonna find it interesting. You're gonna see there's a lot of interesting signals at night. It's crazy. I usually go to bed around between 1 and 2 a.m. is my time when I go to bed usually. But sometimes, I if it wasn't because my eyes start to get small because I'm getting tired. Sometimes I'd stay more than 2 a.m. It's surprising, especially with the higher solar activity. Go into the higher frequencies, tune up to 13-meter band. You might be very, very surprised what you get. So Mike WX50, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. John Beckham, the very inexpensive XH D219 is very surprising. Little DXer for DSP radio. Yeah, it all depends on where you are. What is um your situation? What I've noticed is that if your situation is a quiet environment, not too many strong local FM stations to break through and all, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But in some cases, like here, for example, um, the uh, the um, the FM breakthrough is so intense, it's difficult to actually tune shortwave with it. And when I brought it along with me on a little urban D expedition, noticed that a lot of AM station breakthrough everywhere popping up on the circuit. So I guess it depends a lot on where you are, basically. Stan, I'm in the Eastern time zone, so now it's 4:50 p.m. right now. What else do we have? Blogger Die, nice to have you on board. Distracted by the arrival is Texan PL990. I get it. Yes, absolutely. Yep, the one for Magog is still on, Jean Arrache. That one never went away. The one that went away was the Mont Tremblant one. That one just went away for a year and a half, and now it's back. I'm surprised that it's back. Blogger Die, local NOAA weather station was off for a few days, but the outage was noted on their website. The Master and Apprentice show. Half the time, the weather app on my phone doesn't update in real time, or the icon even disappears off the screen. Yeah, it's it's interesting to see the that we do need these stations, the NOAA weather stations, the and environment in Canada. Even in times of bad weather, your connectivity might be lost for some reason, and still you have the ability to get the weather thanks to these VHF stations. And these are great because if you have a weather alert radio, you can just set it up and it alerts you when bad weather is going to be there. TV Ostrowski, I noticed during the public service strike that the Weather Channel broadcast on Medicine Hat was off air. And after the strike, it was hit and miss related to the strike. That's interesting. I didn't think of that. It is a federal thing. So yeah, there could be some sense in why it ain't working. Now it made me. I didn't think about that. But yeah, it is a federal funded service. So yeah, it could be. It could be. Strong signal on 12695 upper sideband. I think it's KPH or KFS and CW mode. Let's check it out. 12695. Yeah. Signal is just too weak to get decode. I'm trying to decode it on the Yaesu, but it's not even triggering because I should normally see in the middle a little something that tells me I'm centered, and it barely triggers it because it's weak. It's kind of difficult to check it out, but it's there. I definitely hear it, and it's KFS. So I think let me just. Yeah, KFS, and in Morse code it's KFS. So that's what is being sent out here. Joey Jojo, can't wait for Starlink cell service hybrid to come to Canada. Francis Moore, I got myself a Arrow antenna and held Yagi to use with my FT65 and ISS and low Earth orbit satellite comms. We'll let you know the results. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great, Francis Moore, because I'm looking at would it be worth that I take my FT65 and do some satellite stuff. I've been thinking of either buying one that I've seen or actually maybe making one for myself so that I can do some ISS and some satellite stuff, see if it works. Dan V says a lot of people think they will always have cell connection. Yep, not absolutely. RY491, nice to have you here. John Beckham says got a signal on 15475. An upper sideband, if it's 15476 upper sideband, that the signal should be. Wild Woodlands Southwest, nice to have you on board. RJ Dakota says this is indeed an example of an instance of internet going down and just not working. Yep. Fred Water, nice to have you on board. I was reading a certain Fred Water program matters on the Spectrum monitor this yesterday. Sal Domino says made a lot of contacts with Montreal operators on the parks on the airs. Cool. What else do we have? Darren Rogers with the feeling when listening to upper sideband, lower sideband, and you want to go back to AM. Yeah, you just press the same button. If you're on upper sideband, you press the upper sideband button, and it's going to bring you back to AM. It's just a second press. Jay Watterson 69, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? John Beckham, EVs would only want to cancel AM radio, possibly. They just don't want to shield and do what it takes to make sure that AM works fine in their electric cars, basically. Salamino says, that's true. Rented a car on vacation, no AM, just FM. Yeah. Jean Arras, according to Radio World, the number of AM stations in the US is going down, even commercial FM. Well, commercial FM, it depends on how you take the number. Commercial FM is up from 10 years ago. If you take that number from 10 years, it is up. What is down over 10 years, because year over year doesn't necessarily mean anything. But you take the 10-year thing, AM radio is slightly down every year for the last 10 years. VT Radio says, worked to VP2M this week on 1540 meters FT8. I did not know they were rare DX. Yeah, it's a special event. It's the Club Radio Amateur of here in Montreal. Let me just get the info out of here. So VB2M, it's an activation, VB2M. So it's from the Federation of Radio Amateur Clubs, RACI, here in Montreal, but they are from July 21st to 30th. They are operating at La Petite Île au Marteau, which is in the Mega Archipelago National Park Reserve. So that's where they are. And they are operating. There's several people operating CW, SSB, FT8, anywhere from 80 to 6 meters. I saw somebody replying to them on 6 meters yesterday, but I couldn't hear them, so I didn't do anything. And there is you can get a QSL card for $3 if you wish to have the QSL card from them. So this is kind of cool. Maybe I'm going to send for that QSL card. So it's ending tomorrow, July 30th. So you got 24 hours to get them, basically. It's ending tomorrow, July 30th. Tobruk Tim, obviously in North America are not the target audience. Nope, for the most part. And, it goes with what they get. When you when you look at the mailbag, when you look at what are they receiving mail, if nobody's writing in, obviously they're not going to be interested in targeting us much. What else do we have? Dream Shadow says, I have trained a person on FM radio for a community radio station. He's working in my hometown AM station on a cleared channel station. Cool. Cool. What else do we have? David's Cafe. Nice to have you on board from the UK. And what do we have? Brian Penny. Nice to have you on board from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The guy behind the on the air sign, which is really not well visible right now. I need to, but usually what I do is because it fell down behind the desk, I usually put a black sheet of paper in the back, and that makes it really, really show much better. Because with the wall that's white or kind of light blue, it's too much light and it just looks crappy on the camera. But with a black sheet I'm going to try to do that. So next show in September, it's going to be fine. What else do we have? Bacon Whiskey. Nice to have you here. John Beckham, you're so very right in saying that the Crosley AM FM shortwave radio is not a hot performer at all. No, not that great. Not that great at all. Chris, will an SDR play get better reception on an MLA 30 than, say, a Texan 501X? No, but it's different. You can't compare that. You cannot compare an SDR play and a Texan 501, which is Texan 501 is a simple, it's a radio, a portable radio, as the minimum amount of bells and whistles as a portable radio with single sideband and all of that. For portable operation, that's fine. And it will receive as much as the SDR play pretty much. Where an SDR play is different is because you have a computer that processes all the information. There's a lot of things you can do with that signal that are not available on, say, the Texan 501. So with that capability, in those possibilities, there are things that you might actually be able to get out of that noise a little better on an SDR play than you will with a 501X, for example. And I just want to see something here. RJ Dakota, why are you blocking Jasmine? Just curious. I'm just I'm trying to find an option here which I don't have. Let me just see if I can do something about that. So she said she was replying to Jean Arash about, because most people listen to radio for entertainment and we have Spotify for that. So I don't know why RJ Dakota, if it's by accident. Maybe it's just by accident. I remember somebody having being on a portable device or something, and by accident they were removing comments from someone once. Just be careful, RGA Dakota, about that. Okay, here you are back. Thank you. Welcome aboard, Jasmine. No, I haven't seen anything wrong, Jasmine. I think maybe it's probably by accident. Shortwave, there's always surprises. That's a t-shirt right there. So, yeah, proceeds peak around August 12th, 13th. So, yeah. David's Cafe, what does everyone use for interference on SDRs, as my RSPDX is a bit spiky here and there. First of all, good USB cable. Make sure that the interference isn't coming from the computer you're using. So good USB cables with ferrites on the cable itself to reduce interference. That's the first thing. And make sure that your antenna is as far away to the computer as possible. External antenna outdoor the best, or you can also use an MLA30. But that's the problem with SDR sometimes. John Beckham, you familiar with the DXing DE28 handheld AM/FM shortwave MP3 player recorder, as it is very sensitive receiver indeed. The DE28, I don't think I've ever looked into it. Or I think the D28 was just always too expensive here, and I didn't order one for that reason. I'll need to check it out. Keegan DXer, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. James Radio Check, nice to have you here. What else do we have? What else do we have? Matt says, even as we approach solar maximum, I find more interesting signals in broadcast at night. Yeah, definitely. Because the higher frequencies at night have some really, really nice surprises for us in the summertime. But for that to happen, we need to have good solar activity, because the higher frequencies require more, of that, of the ionosphere to actually propagate from where they are, especially since a lot of them are not broadcast towards us necessarily. But it is kind of cool. Lots of interesting stuff when you tune at night. Radio Kid was surprised to get radio Beep Zender on 6185 at 10 UTC last week with a stock whip, that tiny power station, 200 watts, into an inverted V antenna. I sent Simpo for EQSL. So where are you located, Radio Kid? Just out of curiosity. I'm just gonna look here, 6185, because you have Mexico there. That is, but in Europe, yeah. And if you're in Europe, you could easily get it. If you're in North America, you're getting Radio Educación from Mexico. It says here it's irregular operations from Holland. Radio Peep Zender. Kind of interesting. What I like about the winter is the return of the 10-meter band with high solar activity. So it's kind of cool. So let's just go here. Whoops. Wrong button. Try to find where I was. Here we go. Metalunar, after watching some of your radio vids in parks away from noise, it seems that just being in low noise with a telescopic can be better than setting up an outdoor antenna system at home, right? Yeah, it definitely, for a simple reason, is that if at home it's noisy, unfortunately, setting up a big antenna can improve signals, can sometimes lower the noise if you are positioning it right, but it still will stay noisy in a noisy environment. So, yes, absolutely. Portable with telescopic will definitely be able to receive in a very low noise environment tons of signals you would not even notice are there, even with a good outdoor antenna in a noisy environment. It's all a question of noise. So sometimes moving away from that noise is more interesting than trying to put out any type of fancy antenna. So it's kind of interesting. The MLE30 that I have is great for lower frequencies. It gets me signals that I wouldn't hear without, with just the wire, like the infed that I got on the Yisu here. But one of the things is for sure is that when I go to the park, away from all of that noise, just a little portable receiver, telescopic, I get tons of things. So imagine if you go to the park again and you put a fancy antenna there where it's going to be low noise. Now you're going to be DXing, amazingly DXing. I mean, some of you guys are like that. You live in an environment where, I just look at Don Mommen's setup in Alberta, where you can see what low noise is all about. And you go tune his Kiwi SDRs, it hears everything. And it's a great example that you could see that the bands are full of signals when you tune him, because he's such in a quiet environment, amazing antennas plugged on it, and it gives just amazing performance. That would be the optimal best, possibility for all of us. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So, Mike WX50 has LRA36 on 15.476 on Uruguay online QESDR, but not very clear with lots of noise. This is going to come better as we're going to go into September. The reception, the receive of LRA36 is going to get better. Joseph, always listen to NOAA Weather. There is always interesting information to learn about. Meta Lunar, I agree about the NOAA Weather Radio. I'm a fan of it now, and try to keep a NOAA radio at home. I need to make a review actually of one that I have here. I don't know if it's still here somewhere. I put it somewhere. Where is it? It's not here. I put it somewhere else. But I need to. Oh, here it is. I need to talk about it. This is a pretty decent one. The Reticus weather alert radio. So this is, here we go. Not very expensive. Has all the bells and whistles, including the same message display. So you have all the information on the display. You can actually have an alarm. You can set up that it's an alarm or it's the weather or all the information. It's pretty cool. Same digital weather all hazards alert radio. The Reticus receiver. It's the TR625, I believe. It's so freaking small that I can't read it, but definitely something worth. I need to make videos. I used it yesterday, and it's pretty neat. Alert radio. Of course, I need to clean it up. I found it out in the box, but I got this one, of course, that I gotta clean up and put back in service. So here we have still no voice on the local NOAA weather right now, but Midland. This is a Midland that was given to me. So these are nice to have for sure. What else do we have? Lunar agree about the NOAA weather. I'm a fan now. Try to keep NOAA radio at home and in the car. Cool. Matt, have you been using your rig as your primary receiver lately? Depends on what I want to listen to, but if I'm always above 10 megahertz, where the NFED definitely works better, definitely. I've been using the Yaesu as my main shortwave radio for anything above 10 megahertz. Below 10, where the noise becomes too much of a problem, that's where I'll shift to either a portable radio on the MLA30, or I've had a few times the occasion of I just plug the MLA30 on the Yaesu. But for the most part, I try to keep apart. I try to keep apart mostly for another reason. I am very clumsy sometimes. And one of the things that I don't want is to accidentally transmit in the MLE30, which will blow it up. So and of course the multi-coupler also, which is expensive. So I will most of the time, 99% of the time, I keep the Yaesu only on the end fed. If I accidentally, well, that would be if I'm in an amateur band, by the way, because when you're in the broadcast band, it's not a problem because transmit doesn't work. But if I would be listening to something in amateur bands, for example, there's always that possibility of a stupid accident that I accidentally, you know, microphone, I moved the microphone, something, whatever. So I don't want to take that chance. So I keep it on the end fed, and I use other radios. Mostly, I'd say that my main, so here in the office, honestly, my main use right now, the way it works, is so last week I plugged in the Kenwood, which is down here, and so this one is actually on the MLE30 right now. I would just need to plug it in. But for the most part, the way that I set up my listening conditions here is I have the Yaesu 10 megahertz and above, and I use the SDR Play RSPDX or the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery for below 10 megahertz. It's my preferred setup at home. My portables, when I'm outside, I'll use a portable in the backyard, for example, or if I go, of course, to the park or stuff like that. But here, if I do a full day of radio listening, my preferred setup right now is anything above 10 megahertz, I will be tuning around with the Yaesu, and anything below 10, I'll be using an SDR. That pretty much is the setup now. Harold Anderson, nice to have you here from Oslo, Norway, LB1NH. And by the way, Matt, my Yaesu, I wake up in the morning, start working on some videos and stuff. I turn it on and it stays on from like every day from probably 9, 10 a.m. And I shut it down when I go to bed at midnight, 1 a.m. Almost every day. It's been working heavy duty since I got it. Like or die, I only had the 990 for half of an afternoon. Impressions so far positive. Dave Moss, nice to have you here. Recently bought a Seawood on the 808, and now I have an MLE30 Plus coming. How do I connect the SMA to the 2.5 millimeter required by the D808? Yeah, you need an adapter, which is a. I'll give you an example of that. I think Amazon did have. Let me check it out. So here's what you need. Something that is like this. So it doesn't have to be that one, but this is the one you need to get. This is exactly what you need, which is a SMA female to 3.5 millimeters, which is what the radio will use. So that will work with the here's the link to Amazon. We call it the female bulkhead adapter. This is what's going to connect your MLA30 to your D808 and most portable radios too. Danny Shortwave Radio DX, nice to have you on board. Hot and humid day in Yonkers, New York. Keegan DXer has an RCA branded clock radio with AM FM NOAA plus alerts, red LED display. Cool. Bacon Whiskey, has anyone tried or used a car stereo with shortwave like the Pioneer that he's mentioning? I've never seen much people using shortwave in their cars as a car radio, basically. Rex, nice to have you on board from KC5AGO, Central Texas listener. Nice to have you here. Rob, nice to have you here. We have Texan Kid, Radio Kid, sorry. There hasn't been a new Texan 600 series introduced for a long time. PL 680 goes back to 2014. Do you think there will be another PL 690 or anything? It's anyone's guess, but I don't think that they're going to follow in on that series of analog radios, because I think that at the lower priced range, analog is pretty much gone. Sorry, guys. Analog is pretty much gone. There are now creating radios with the DSP chip. All the radios they make have the DSP chip in them, and it's very simple. It costs a lot less money than having all the PLL, the analog, with the parts and everything. That chip has literally changed the way radios are made now. And they're trying to have the lowest price radios possible. And this is also present in the fact that they probably, radios with that chip cost a lot less to make. The PL 680, 660, they're all PLL analog. So every circuit is made with parts, which is something they don't have to do with that DSP, that silicon integrated 4734, 4735 chip. It is technically a radio on a chip. So I think that they will not, because they will not want to release a PLL driven radio. The only ones that have now that PLL style receiver and the DSP chip is using in one stage is PL 990 and H501X, which actually have the DSP chip in one of the stages in the triple conversion that they have. What else do we have? Let's check it out here. Jim's Radio Check had the PL 600 outside yesterday, and it was so humid the display was sweating on the inside. Wow. Wow. Danny Shortwave finally finished his DIY coax cable window pass through, which stained it and ran my wires through it. Pretty cool. You're ready for winter and all the antennas. Tristan, any thoughts on the U-loop antenna? Thinking of getting one for travel. Would the U-loop be good in a quiet RF environment? The U-loop is good. The main difference between a U-loop and an MLA30 is simply the MLA30 has an amplification system in it, so it amplifies the signal. The U-loop is passive, and so technically it could be quieter than an MLA30, although a lot of their tests, the real good tests that have been done, not necessarily the case. But everybody that has a U-loop, I think, enjoys it. I've tried. I got one here. I need to take it out. I got one here. I need to take it out for a spin again. It works fine. And if you're in a quiet environment, I think it's going to work good, definitely. The other thing to remember about the U-loop is the U-loop is made and designed in the portability in mind. So it's there to work with your devices, be portable at the same time, easy to set up anywhere. And it does have an advantage when used because it's designed to maximize the use of the HF discovery, the AirSpy HF discovery. But it's not a heavy duty antenna. You can't leave it outside. It's not made for that. The MLA30 is heavy duty. It's meant to be outside, and the Elements mine has been outside for 4 winters now, and still going strong. So, but the U-loop is more of a indoor antenna or portable, setups when you go somewhere with a radio. Jasmine, next Saturday, I'm taking my Malahay SDR and portable MLA30 Plus into the wilderness. That's going to be fun. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with that. Rotten Animal, nice to have you here from Toronto. Sean, nice to have you here. Any thoughts on the Shibo 1880 for 199? I don't even know what that is. Need to check it out. The Shibo D. That's the. Let me check it out here. Okay. I see an 1860 here. 1860. Wow, that is an interesting radio. So, the sheeple, that's interesting. With Bluetooth. It is kind of interesting. I have no idea. I've never seen that before. See it here on AliExpress. That's expensive. 200 would be 289 Canadian dollars. It looks like has the feel of an Ethon receiver, but has the Bluetooth. That looks like higher end radio. This is interesting. Wow. Okay. I would not. So it has FM RDS. It has airband, synchronous detection. This is interesting. And we have a version that comes with the GA450 portable loop. That is interesting. For $100 more. Youch. 380 bucks. It is interesting. I don't know. I have no idea. Does it perform well or not? That is expensive. That is expensive. I wonder how it performs. I don't know. It's definitely expensive. Huh. You made me see a radio I didn't even know existed. That's interesting. So let me just go back where I was. Here we go. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know what to say, Sean. Looks nice, but I don't know. Got to be careful sometimes with what's looking nice. It's not always nice. Denny Shortwave used a U-loop, worked well on long wave, very quiet. However, mine got damaged. Ricardo, nice to have you here from Portugal. Nice to have you on board listening to the airport on the D808. Nice to have you here. A glass of wine. Cool. John Beckham, since you have the ATS-25, what would be a reasonable price for that radio? Wow, that's a good question. A reasonable price is definitely below $100. That's for sure. That's for sure. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. Brian Chapman, nice to have you here from Northern Utah. We have Shelly, nice to have you here, South Central Pennsylvania. Let's go down, try to catch up a little bit here. I'm 25 minutes behind. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board. Hope you are well, my friend. Jim Gordon, nice to have you here. We have Christopher Cullen, nice to have you on board. From the UK, do you or anybody know if Power SDR software will work with RTL SDR dongle? I don't know. I don't know. Blogger Dice got a DE28. You like it? Fred Water, ever have that moment when family or friends finally take an interest in your radio activities and you have to tell them that you are listening to a local AM station at the moment? Yeah, sometimes it's just, it's funny because there are things. So I'm going to just go to the ads and I'm going to come back because it's come to, you make me think of a funny story here. So KFS on 12695.5 ish. CW or 12695 upper sideband out of California in Morse code. Um, so going back to Fred Waterer's comments, you sometimes have somebody that's kind of displaying really, really not interested at all at what you do. And so I got my brother that never, never, never was interested in shortwave and radio. All he was hearing was static and he just didn't care and was mostly annoyed at it. And so you're in the mode, well, he's annoyed in my hobby. And of course, when I got the Kenwood R5000, um, he was not impressed with anything, but he found that the radio looked quite cool and very high end. But he wasn't interested, and it's like nothing I could say. And one day, he's in the living room, and he's listening to something, and I say, that's the space shuttle. Because if you guys remember, there was that station WA3NAN, I believe, what it was the call sign. They would rebroadcast every mission audio over the amateur bands, which I totally enjoyed and really loved listening to. So when the shuttle was up, one of the things I would be tuning is one of those frequencies to listen to the shuttle audio. So he's just like, oh, okay, that's the space shuttle. Yeah. So, but not more interested in than that. It's like, he's still annoyed that's too much static. So he gets his new girlfriend over and one day and his girlfriend is like, oh wow, that's setup. I got the computer on, I got the radio and the stuff. And you know he's not interested in anything but to impress somewhat the girlfriend. He's like, oh, and my brother's really a genius, he's listening to the space shuttle with that radio. It's like, yeah, you don't care about my hobby, but when it's to impress a girl, that's a different thing. um John, Tampa, Florida, nice to have you here. Jim Gordon, nice to have you here from Scotland. Do you think that DAB radio has any future in Canada? I don't know. I don't know if it could. Right now, really, the standard here in North America is HD radio. I think HD radio is nice. Honestly, personally, I like that. But for DAB to get here, HD radio would have to be pushed out, and there's a lot of money in there. So I don't think for now we can think about that. Could it be in the future? Who knows? Who knows? But for now, doesn't seem like it. Blogger died D28, $25 on Amazon. Didn't find it particularly sensitive. And the display electronics makes a lot of noise. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm off for a month. Just to remind everybody that are on here now. August, I am not doing live shows for August. I will be back September 2nd, Saturday, September the 2nd at 20 hours UTC. Doug Noble says, one thing about car antennas. My Pontiac used to have an antenna built into the windshield. Yeah, they used to do these things. Today, they don't do it anymore. Justin should invest in HD radio. Is there any advantage to having an HD radio? There is if you have HD content available. Honestly, I've got a Sangean HDR 14. I'm very happy to have purchased an HD radio. Not, for the capabilities like my 80s show that I listen on Friday night, the station's in HD. Sounds much better, definitely. But the warning about HD radio is look at the where you live and is are there any HD radio stations around? Some markets don't have any anymore. There used to be a lot of them. A lot of them have shut down the HD signal. If there's a lot of HD stations around you, you will find an advantage in an HD radio with the added content in the display, the great audio that it gives out, and all of that, and several stations too. It's like one of the things I like on mine is I go to 107.9, the WVPS station out of Burlington, Vermont, and I can get the BBC World Service on HD2, which is great, something I'd like to have. And a lot of the HD stations have several different streams. For example, the 103.3 station here as the main station on 103.3 HD1. It has a country music station on HD2. So there's different things like that that are really a lot of fun. But before buying one, look at the HD stations around you. Do you have HD stations in your city before? Because if not, you're just going to waste your money. Bart, severe thunderstorm here in East Tennessee. Nice to have you here. The wind 1960. Nice to have you on board. Donald E. Smith. Nice to have you here from Bermuda. What else do we have? Let's go down. Try not to miss out on anybody. Yeah, James Radio check with thunderstorms. There's a lot of static crashes. Definitely, you got to try to mitigate. Okay, so the DE28 Blogger Die is just shortwave bands, and you can't go outside. Yeah, I don't like that system because you miss out on too many things very often. So, Rita Kid, I didn't spot Mexico on that list for that, unless I missed it. The other station I listed was China. Yeah, because the station here, what I hear all the time is Radio Educación. And it was simple. If you heard the station, if you could identify the language, the station in Holland is in Dutch, the station in Mexico is in Spanish. So with the language, you know which one you're listening to. But here, what I hear in Montreal here is always Radio Educación, which is on from 22 to 12 UT on that frequency. John Meckham, does anyone know how to repair these amplified roof base mount antennas? Hmm. Long way of dancing like crazy. Jasmine, after this past week's hearing in Congress, I'm convinced that AM and FM radio will be gone in 10 years. We'll be listening alien stations on phase modulated gravitational waves. God. David says those weather radios are so exotic to me. No such thing here in Spain. Yeah, I've always wondered why North America was the only place that actually caught on. I mean, they are so wonderful to have. Um, and everywhere you can have bad weather. I mean, sure that Spain has some bad thunderstorms and even some bad storms sometimes. I don't think it's just North America. I never understood that. Bart, I like the LA30 for the HF bands, but the simple U loop is much better performer for medium wave and long wave. So, well, I believe it's kind of designed to be more resonant on the lower frequencies. So, it's possible that it could be better on the low bands. What I've seen mostly for most of the real good tests that I've seen online And even what I pretty much see here is that on shortwave, the U loop's good. The MLA30 is better, but it's possible that medium wave, long wave, the U loop has an edge and wins. The advantage also of a U loop is the fact that you don't need any power, and that could be an advantage for some people. Lagardai says, I think North America is about all there is for weather bands. Um, what else do we have? Yeah, it is cool. It's just don't doesn't just look cool. It's cool. It's really works well. I need to make a few videos of it. I made the unboxing video. I didn't follow up with the rest. There is one very bad thing about it. The manual is horrible, and you've got to try to decipher and understand what they're trying to say. That is absolutely horrible. I can tell you that. No, the email's wrong. The email is official shortwave, needs to be in full word, radio@gmail.com. This is the email. Official shortwave radio@gmail.com is the email. For the rest, Bart says I will add that the U loop needs to be used with a high dynamic range receiver. Yeah, Greg, I'll have to do that. I'll try to set up because I'm gonna change things around a little. I'm gonna try to set up to have a good showing all of my radios soon. TV Dostowski, my no alert is only as good as Environment Canada is showing timely alerts, clearing off red warnings if there is a possibility of severe weather in the future, but imminent alerts are non-existent. Christopher Cullen says 6275. Listening to the pirate station from which I think is Laser Hot Hits. Yeah. VE2IEV about just about finished receiving parts to build my NFID half wave antenna. Looking forward to try it on my ICOM 7300. It's going to be a great antenna if you don't have too much noise where you are. That's what I'm using, and it is working great. I'm making contacts everywhere, and I seem to be getting to Europe and lots of places so easily. I'm amazed, but it will all depend on one major thing: the noise level that you're going to get through it, because it is a wire antenna, so it is prone to a lot of noise if it's noisy where you are. Here in where I am in Rosemont, Montreal, it's really the noise floor I have is like 10 megahertz and above. It works good. Below 10, oh god, it's horrible. The noise floor is so high. Simon Templar just added the Yaesu SB30 to his FTDX10. Works good. Cool. So pretty nice. Blugger Dice, some of the MLA30 Plus packages now have an adapter. That's a pretty good idea. They should all come with an adapter. I can tell you that. Artist Under Crafter's Kitchen from a rainy Massachusetts. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool. No problem, Dave Moss. What else do we have? Matt says the PL600. Yeah, I think it's been discontinued for a while now. But you still, even the 680, 660 are starting to get harder to find. So, yep, that's definitely something that you could do. Like Blogger Die says, one of those little FM transmitters that you can plug in the earphone jack of a shortwave radio that will give you the shortwave into your car radio. Yep. Phillips had I remember seeing that one so many times. and thinking about, you know, it'd be so cool if my dad would add that to his car. I was the crazy guy even when I was a teenager. I remember that we would go up north, and I would actually bring in the car my Radio Shack DX 302. I had all the cables to power it from the cigarette lighter, and there was a wire. My dad had passed a wire up to the trunk in the back of the car, and it was giving me some interesting reception, I got to say. Um, Greg Scherer, thank you for the tip. Very appreciated. Thank you so much. So yeah, official shortwave radio at gmail.com, like I put in the chat room. It's full words. Official shortwave radio at gmail.com. Dwayne, thunderstorm is moving into Bristol, Tennessee, heading to North Carolina. So yeah, lots of rough ones. Take care, TVDXer. À la prochaine, and see you in September. David, yeah, that's what they said, that there were no more high-end products from them, and for the chief designers retired. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. Our boy 491. Yeah, well, as long it's not necessarily that it has to be analog. It has to be designed well. Like the H501 and the 990 use the DSP chip, but it's not the main driver, so you don't have the chuffing or the muting. It's just tuning around. It's just tuning around softly like an old analog PLL, and that's pretty cool. It's the ones that are really designed to use the DSP chip directly. Um, so David Ostrowski, yeah, PL990 and H501X both are triple conversion radios, and the DSP chip is on. I think it's on the first conversion, or one of the two first conversions, anyways. So it is the reason why it tunes without muting, because it has its tuning circuit and uses the DSP chip in a different way than the DSP radios themselves. But when you listen to the audio, you can still feel and hear the effects of a DSP chip and reception. Yeah, the DSP backend, definitely. All the bandwidths, and I mean that chip is truly amazing in what it could do, and it's pretty cool. But it has to be done right. Rotten Animal's got a Sony XFF5100 car radio with shortwave voice. Great, cool. Simon Templar, my MLE 30 Plus has been outside for right at 2 years. So these are good. They take the rough weather. I can tell you that. Seeing it outside here with the snow and a minus 25-degree temperature just tells you, it's like, wow, that thing works. David says U-loop specifically designed for receivers with high sensitivity and high dynamic range, such as the SPHF Plus SDR. So that's why no preamp, which would be necessary for other receivers. Timothy Gunther, nice to have you here from Arkansas. Michael, nice to have you on board. We have Keegan DXer hooked up my Ethon Gradics Edition satellite SSB with a 2-meter ham whip with adapters, and fed the output to the auxiliary input of the radio of my dad's 2017 Chevrolet Volt. Allowed better reception of FM shortwave. So welcome back, Radio Kid, as long as everything's all right. So, Here we go. So, yes, I am taking August off for live shows. So I will be back September 2nd, Saturday, September 2nd at 20 hours Universal Time. So take a little time off here. What else do we have? The realistic weather cube. Yeah, I remember that, Radio Kid. I had one. Bruce Gerbert listening to KFS, which is on HF. Pretty cool. Yeah, they're listening for stations from time to time, like in the good old days of marine stations. Mr. X, nice to have you here from UK. Jim's ready to check. I suppose you could use a Kiwi SDR on your phone and put it through the Bluetooth of your car. Yeah. What I would do, probably renting a car, would be mostly to feed the Bluetooth to the car of my phone and or my tablet and tune a Kiwi SDR to listen to some shortwave stations while driving around. Oh, that's interesting. Blogger Die says there was a Sony shortwave radio about 20 years ago for the car, but the US version had shortwave disabled. Why? I don't get it. Why? This is weird. Alex Kaufman, nice to have you here from Southeast Iowa. Swordfish Radio, nice to have you here. G7FTN, nice to have you here, Martin. Sheila in Belleville, Ontario, thank you for the tip. Much appreciated. Bart says, I read where SDR console is coming out with new build, a beta version next week. It has a new noise reduction setting called AI, and it's supposed to be pretty good. It's going to be interesting to check it out. I can't wait for the multi OS version of the SDR Uno software, or whatever they call it, to come out. It's going to be into SDR console, I think, is that for Linux, Mac. It's going to open up a new world. Like, everybody's going to be on the same software, whether you're running Linux, a Mac, or a Windows PC. Kamikaze 76, nice to have you here from West Michigan. Danny Shortwave, yeah, Pioneer makes a car shortwave radio too. The bands are very limited. I've seen them on eBay. Yeah, I think today that would be the best thing. It's just the using a portable radio. Yeah, man, my brother knew his priorities. It was just so funny. It's just so funny. Astro GTX, nice to have you here from the UK. Just doing my training for my foundation license at the moment. Wish me luck. Good luck. I'm sure you're going to get it. Sure, you're going to be there. Maybe we'll make a contact on the band someday. Brad Shaver, I'm going to be missed in August, but I'll be back even better and improved in September. Hopefully. King of the Exorcist has the Sangean AGR14 HD radio after watching my review. Good radio. Yeah, definitely good radio. Definitely good radio. Josh Kinder, nice to have you here. Always nice to have you on board. Thank you, Radio Kid. I will enjoy my vacations. Marvin Motz from Japan Islands, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Let me check out here. So, okay. What else here? Go down, go down, go down. BMC Bike. Here, they're getting rid of FM and are really pushing DAB plus to be more suitable for EVs. Yeah, Europe, a lot of European countries are pushing DAB like crazy, trying to get rid of the FM analog. Yeah, there's a lot of combination of huge areas and low population and bad weather, but I think it's pretty much everywhere. A heavy thunderstorm I think can happen pretty much everywhere around the world. It's kind of interesting. Um, they don't have hurricanes, but they will have bad weather still. I mean, the UK gets hit with these monster storms coming from the Atlantic Ocean. Sometimes the remnants of hurricanes that are still powerful enough to be good storms. There's still heavy thunderstorms and heavy rains and all sorts of things that can happen. Europe has bad weather as much as we do, and it's I think it's just a question that something was, Canada follows a lot of what the U.S. does and some of the technologies and things used. So I think what happened is the U.S. decided at some point that NOAA weather would be something, and Canada thought, well, I guess Environment Canada equivalent would be nice. And we all got the same system working with the same. I mean, it's the same exact system, works in the exact same way. We have the same, same coded messages, that can just be displayed and the tones, and it is the same system. It just probably never, got off anywhere else. Matt, I thought weather radios were awesome when I was a kid, but my aunt and grandmother had that Radio Shack cube with the fake wood grain. But all I could convince my mom was to buy me the blue pocket one. Yeah, I had the cube. I brought that cube with me when we would go up north to and at the time, today there's a weather station on Mont Tremblant, which would have been heard there, but there wasn't at the time. And so when I brought it there, I heard nothing. I was like, oh, no weather stations. I can hear that. But man, I love that. I don't know what happened to it. I would have. These are such things. They're such nice things that I would have loved to have still today. Radio Kid should have known it was too good to be through to get that signal. It could have been, but yeah, you probably hurts Mexico. But it could have been. You never know sometimes. Shortwave, you got to try it for sure. Um, what else do we have? No, HD radio is not part of Europe for sure. What else do we have? Bart, WWBG out of Indian Ed, Maryland, was my 800th medium wave capture here in East Tennessee in 3 years. Wow, that is so good. So good. Rex, weather radios are not just for weather alerts, but also any other emergency broadcasts. For example, Amber Alerts and Silver Alerts apps on cell phones now carry many of the alerts for subscribers. Um, what else do we have? Here in Spain, David says here in Spain, being implemented is DAB Plus with AAC codec. Same time, medium wave broadcasting is still very alive, so I hope it and FM are still around for some time. Much prefer those to digital. I mean, it's always the same thing that I say. It's cool to have DAB or HD radio, and it's fine to have that going forward. But um, the thing is, um, keep the analog for at least for a while, because I think it's needed. Kevin, it's a watch from Conicom. It's their titanium GMT watch. I know that it's out of it was sold out. I think when I saw it the other day, but they sent me this in a GP, another GP7 SSB with all the bells and whistles, some BL5C batteries, chargers, a nice little kit. They gave me a nice package, a nice gift package from the Conicom. Go see. You guys should go see the Conicom website. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Their flashlights are amazing, and there's all sorts of things for survival and kits of all sorts. Countycom, and it's really nice. The stuff they have is really really cool. So here's the website. You guys can go and see what they have. Maybe you'll get tempted by something, but they have some really cool gear. So here's the website for CountyCom. Pretty cool stuff. Thank you, John Beckham. See you September 2nd. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back with more energy. Jill Shortwave Showroom. Yeah. Thank you, Sheila, for the nice tip. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Blogger Dice BL660 from 2011. Still going strong. Yep. I got my 680, which is off by a kilohertz and a half, but still going well. I got my 600, which still going well. I need to pick them up and do more videos. Been a long time since I've used them. So it's pretty cool. What else do we have here? I go down. And we go down and we go down. Thank you, Jim Gordon. It'll be nice to take a little bit of time off and recharge the batteries. I'm also in a kind of thinking phase of how I could, add content, change content, do something different on both my shortwave channel and on my tech channel to try to kind of, move things around a little bit. So, going to be interesting to check out, and probably do some changes as we come back in September. David's got his PL660 here on my by my side right now, and it's my primary radio, especially for listening to HFSSB signals on the go. And yes, it's also going strong. Oh yeah, they're good radios. They last a long time. It's funny because the watch the last watch I wore on pictures that I've seen, I think it's something like 2010, 2011. And it was a Timex that I'd purchased, which I found it really nice. It was a big red watch. But when the smartphones came and I had the time always on my phone, just didn't, I just didn't use them anymore. And so I never bought another watch after that. But it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to have this watch. Somebody on the asked me the other day, I'm going to do it again here. So as somebody saw my video about my donations, with the super chat and the thanks that you can use under videos, but said I'd like to have your PayPal. So if you guys want to do a PayPal donation, this is where to send it. This is the email of my PayPal for donations. So for those that wanted to do it through PayPal rather than doing it through the YouTube stuff, because YouTube does take a percentage off of every donation. And the PayPal, like I said, it's the radio fund. It goes into the radio fund for new radios this fall. So we're going to check it out. Maybe a Belka in the offing. We're going to see that. David says, yeah, the car shortwave radios are intended for the lower domestic European stations around 49 meter range. So yeah, that's possible. It's also something we didn't have that much here. You guys in Europe did have an extensive amount of stations on shortwave in the past that were dedicated to 49 meters because it was, a frequency range that covered Europe, and even in the daytime, you could hear stations from other countries on the 49 meter band. So you're almost using that as a broadcast band for Europe, basically. Something that we didn't do much of here in North America. 32 bits. How does your FTDX10 in receive compared to SDR play when using the same aerial? Any pros or in cons for both? What I'll say is that in standard receive, if we just receive a signal, pretty much the same. It compares. Where the differences are is in the different bells and whistles you can get. But on receive, they're not that much different in receive. Sensitivity wise, is pretty much the same. You'll get, of course, the easy stuff like the digital noise reduction. That is, a simple. It's mostly because it's simple on the Yaesu compared to an SDR sometimes to play with the different settings of the noise reduction and the software. But on the Yaesu, the simplicity of the digital noise reduction button and easy to just change some things around to help with the audio. The fact that the audio comes from the radio speaker also is kind of a different thing. You got to tweak more in a computer on an SDR for the audio output. But in terms of just basic standard receive, there's nothing on the Yaesu on the same antenna that you'll not hear on the SDR. It all goes down to how both work and how easy it is or not to change settings to make the reception easier. So, for sure. Mike WX50, I bought my TR625 on Amazon. It was actually very cheap. There was I think I bought it out of like I bought something, and of course, Amazon always pops radios in my face because it knows I buy a lot of them. Um, and it was like really inexpensive. Plus, it had like a $10 coupon that I could apply to it. So when I saw that, it was like, oh, okay, let's get the weather radio also. But I bought it on Amazon. Jean Arash, why would we need to get rid of HD if we wanted DAB in Canada? It's not the same band, is it? It's not the same band, but the problem is it's the competition. HD radio is a paid every station in Canada and the US that wants to use HD radio pay for that privilege. So they pay Ubiquity, or they were sold. I don't remember the name of the company, but HD radio, you got to pay for the usage, a license fee every year. So DAB is an open standard, doesn't have fees. So that would be direct competition with HD radio. So if DAB would come here, it'd kill HD radio because all the stations would say, why pay a yearly fee when I can just set up, a new transmitter on that band and have HD? And then there's the possibility of just removing yourself. Like, in Europe, they're going to push DAB a lot in many countries. So they shut down the analog. But definitely DAB would arrive here and stations would start using it. HD would suffer because it's competition. And I'm sure DAB isn't here for that main reason. HD radio wants to keep that edge and get that money coming in. Hello there, Nick Casarino. Nice to have you here. N6 VOA, and thank you so much again for the watch and the GP7. And I just sent a bunch of people to your CountyCom website. There's a lot of cool stuff there. I was going through everything you had on the website the other day. Really, a lot of interesting stuff in there. Trust in the Canadian summer goes way too fast, so enjoy your time off. Definitely. I mean, as we get into September, it's almost like Christmas. It's crazy fast, the things that happen. I like fall. There's a lot of cool stuff. I like the fact that I love Halloween and of course Christmas and all of that. So as we get into September, I'm kind of excited. There's a lot of little things in September. There's the Ukrainian festival in Montreal, which I just love. So I like the September to December time here because there's so much cool stuff to do. But winter's coming, that's for sure. Um, Tank, nice to have you here from Louisville, Kentucky. Greg says if you all get bored in August, we have a messenger feed and Facebook. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and I'll be posting in a Facebook group and checking out stuff on Shortwave definitely. Blogger I had the Radio Shack Weather Cube too. I think a lot of us purchased that. It was inexpensive and it did a good job at what it was supposed to do. Randy, nice to have you here from Riverside, California, KN6BZG. What else do we have? Let's check it out here. Yeah, the long wide bar. Yeah. I remember that thing. Oh man, there's so much. Yep. Say it again. I'm taking a break for the month of August for those that have not had that information. So this is the last show until Saturday, September 2nd, 20 hours Universal Time. We'll be back. Thank you, Rob's Radio Channel, for the tip. Much appreciated. Jasmine, I think you should simulcast on Twitch and YouTube using Restream. What else do we have? Danny Shortwave. Oh yes, it has the GMT dial. Connie Com has some cool stuff. I saw it the other day. Oh yeah, Connie Com has tons of cool stuff. Dwayne, are you going to sign off with Moscow Nights? Yeah, of course. Why not? I'm gonna do that for sure. So yeah, I can check that out, Jasmine. It's something that can easily be done. And I'll also be changing a few things during August. I'll be changing the way I stream, so might be checking. I do have a Twitch account that I've not used in a long, long time. I don't even remember with what email I actually put it on. But yeah, definitely that the more audience possibilities, the better it is. Blogger Dice says have 4 radios with shortwave and weather alerts. So pretty cool. I got 2 scanner radios that 3. I got 3 radios. So 3, 4 radios themselves. I've got, of course, a couple of emergency radios, but with weather alert, I got the ICOM ICR30, ICR20. They both support weather alert. I believe the FT65, Yaesu FT65 has weather alert feature too. And I got the Sea Crane Skywave SSB that I think has weather alert features also. David, yeah, I know from the point of view of performance, digital schemes like DAB Plus are better, but I also think radio's purpose in the end is to be listened to, and FM definitely sounds better to me. Yeah, definitely. Um, Jazz Tank Timex a good watch. I have been wearing since 2008. Yeah, I wore that watch, the Timex watch I had, which was beautiful. I had seen it on the internet because when you go to a place here with Timex watches, there's everywhere. But a real beautiful one that will be something I want to wear. It's on the I think it was on the Timex website itself, and they had a blue and a red one. I wanted the blue, but it was out of stock, so I ordered the red one, and man, it was so beautiful of a watch. And I got it for a long time. I got it. I actually had the battery changed at a local place here, and continued using it for a while. I think I stopped wearing it when the bracelet broke off, and I just kept it. And I thought, well, maybe I could, have a new bracelet put on. And finally, with this smartphone, I never did. John, Tampa, Florida. Nice. Just happened to see the County Com in their product line not too long ago. Really cool stuff. Oh, definitely cool stuff. Rob, me too. Joe. After I started using cell phone around 98, I stopped wearing a wristwatch. Yeah, it's pretty much. Pretty much. The Timex always reminds me of the ad that we would see the TV ad with the two sumo wrestlers where they tape a Timex watch to their bellies and they just go head to head, belly to belly, and they take the watch and it still works. I like that ad. It was good. That was a good one. Radio Kid, even though I carry my phone, still wear a wristwatch as a habit. Feel naked without one. Blogger, I remember those Timex commercials, but my father was a watchmaker, and most of them were not very water resistant. Yeah, later they became better, but the first ones weren't the best. I remember one that was water resistant. I went to a pool, and it was all there was like I could see that there was some humidity inside suddenly. So it's like, oops, I think a little bit of water went into it. Yeah, European cars have had long wave. Yep, definitely. Must have been cool, you know. Mike WX50 Redicus TR625 unavailable on Amazon. Oh, sad. Let me check it here. Amazon Canada. Sometimes it's so different. Amazon Canada and Amazon in the US is so different. Redicus TR625. So results. Yep, not showing up in the results, so it's probably don't have it. They have. There is one that is intriguing to me that actually Sheldon sent me. I had seen it in the past. I am curious about the Sangean. What is it? The Sangean MMR99 emergency radio. Anybody own that one? The MMR99 AM, FM, RBDS, Bluetooth, auxiliary, weather, digital tuning, emergency radio. Looks interesting, but it's $145 Canadian here. I find it just a little expensive, but looks nice. John, Tampa, Florida still has a Timex from the 60s. Wow, pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? ET himself. Nice to have you here. Mike WX50, thank you for the tip. Much appreciated, guys. Yeah, there will be the Moscow night chair dance. Extra. Oh man. Marvin Moss, we will miss you for August, but I enjoy listening to old programs while building radios in my shop. Cool. VE2VZ, Robert, will you be at the Longueuil Hamfest on October 21st? Yeah, I will probably be there. I'm seriously thinking I will be there. So, yep, absolutely. Anybody that goes there, we can meet up. LVR Steelworks, thank you for the tip. Says my weather radio got put to use last night. Got woken up at 12 a.m. by a line of severe storms through the Chicago area last night. A Midland ER 210. These are definitely useful and nice to have, for sure. What else do we have? John Tempa says, I hear you. I miss living up north in the autumn season. Yeah, and the colors and the trees and everything. I kind of find it nice. You know, I don't hate it putting a little jacket on because it's cool outside. It's kind of nice, you know. Danny Shortwave still has his old Twitch account. Matt MDK2 got a lovely Seiko watch in the 90s with a green dial and had them make the band, which was segmented metal, small for my thin wrists, never knowing I'd gain weight and be unable to wear it one day. Yeah, you got to give it some slack. Not too much so it doesn't go and slide through your hand, but we sometimes need to think about things like that because it's like, you know, there are a few things that is like, ooh, okay. What else do we have? My brother had a lovely Seiko watch when I was a teenager. I remember he paid a really high price for it. I don't remember how expensive it was, but boy, but it was beautiful. Pretty crazy. Matt says my wife had one of those Nokia phones, but I got on Motorola flip phone for myself. I thought it was so cool. Yeah, the Razor Motorola. I remember having my Motorola Razor, which I thought was such a cool phone. And I had Love Shack from the B-52s as a ringtone, which was really bad idea because every time the song would play and they'd have the song on the radio, I thought my phone was ringing. Oh God, incredible, incredible. Take care, Matt. Stay safe, and we'll be back in September. Fred Water, I like that. People following people online. Remember when that was called stalking? Definitely, it was. Today, it's like, yeah, you want to know everybody's lives or something. It's just funny. Oh man. Let's check something here. There should be radio, the voice of Turkey, 785. Oops, AM 11785. Yep, voice of Turkey in English, 11785. Radio Romania, real good, 11800. So two stations that are interesting here. Radio Romania, 11800 in English, and 11785 for Voice of Turkey. So pretty cool. Pretty cool if you want to listen to some of the stuff there. And it's pretty cool. Thanks, guys, for the tips and the donations. Much appreciated. All going to the radio fund, of course. So it's always cool to have all of you here. So let me just check if I missed anybody on email. Just check it out here. Wow, there's so much spam lately on the emails. It's crazy. They have some very, very original stuff, way of doing it so that they can actually go through. Okay, so I will be signing off for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll be back on September 2nd at 20 hours Universal Time. Hope you guys enjoy. And we're going to end the show with a little tradition that we have from time to time. Just go here. Just go here. And let's do a little Moscow Nights. So I'm just pushing the camera to make sure I don't knock it away. And here we go. To get nights. I'm sorry, guys. Here we go.
Monsieur Christie a toujours dit, donner un biscuit.
That's an ad in French. I never had ads before on that one. Here we go. So here we go, guys. Family can starve for a minute. Take care. Stay safe, guys. Love you all.
routine rétinol de soir pour